Hello, my name is Alyssa, and today I'm revealing to you my March 2018 monthly favorites. If you've never seen my monthly favorites videos before, this is where I list everything I loved related to movies, TV shows, video games, etc. And yeah, it's just a good time. I have a lot of fun making these videos. These are probably my favorite videos to make. So let's just get on to actually talking about said favorites now before I jibber jabber all over the place. Jibber jabber, jibber jabber, jibber jabber, jibber jabber. So of course the first category is movies, and by the way, if you'd like to see the movies I don't mention in these videos, or you'd like to read my written reviews for the films I mention, go to my website, alycatgeekery.com, or you can follow me on Letterboxd to get an early sneak peek at what I see and what I rate movies. Now the first three movies I'm going to mention, I've already previously mentioned in a previous video and on my website, so I'm not going to go into too much detail with these. But the first one up is The Shape of Water. Of course, this is the Best Picture Oscar winner of this year, directed by Guillermo del Toro. It's beautiful. The performances by Sally Hawkins, Michael Shannon, Octavia Spencer, Richard Jenkins, Michael Stuhlbarg are all fantastic. The color aesthetic is blue and green, which really adds to that underwater feel. The love story is so beautiful, kind of creepy at the same time, but it's totally Guillermo del Toro's oeuvre, and this is just a knockout film that I highly recommend you see. Next up is The Disaster Artist. This is based off the memoir The Disaster Artist, which was written about the making of the cult classic film The Room. And this is a very loving homage to Tommy Wiseau and to the making of The Room. It's definitely a film that if you like watching films about Hollywood and the making of films, you'll love this. James Franco does a fantastic job both directing and starring in this film. He does an amazing portrayal of Tommy Wiseau, and all the supporting actors are also fantastic and lend humor and heart to the film, and it totally blew my expectations out of the water. And the last film I want to mention that I'm just briefly talking about is Annihilation, which is a crying shame that this film didn't get more love and attention than it got, because it is fantastic. It's directed by Alex Garland, who previously directed Ex Machina, stars Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Oscar Isaac. It's a fantastic science fiction story that is based off Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, and it stands alone on its own. It does have some elements from the book in it, but it is its own entity. It's very well done. The visual and audio effects are outstanding. Again, the performances are great. Watch Annihilation ASAP if you're into science fiction, please! Okay, now that we're through the speed run of those movies, let's get on to the movies I haven't mentioned. First up is Opera. This is a film by Dario Argento, and it's about this opera singer who was an understudy, but when the lead operetta has an accident, she gets to take her place, but what she doesn't realize is she has a creepy stalker who will kill anyone who gets in the way of her success. This has all the touchstones of Dario Argento's films. Amazing death scenes, beautiful use of blood, which I know sounds creepy, but Dario Argento just knows how to utilize blood in such a beautiful way. A killer soundtrack. Oh my gosh, this soundtrack was incredible. And of course a compelling story that twists and turns and makes you think. I adored Opera, and I have seriously not been disappointed by a Dario Argento film yet. The next movie up was a pleasant surprise to me, and that is Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for the original Jumanji, so when I saw this was a comedy and that it was more lighthearted, more goofy, I was like, this isn't gonna be that great. I was wrong. Okay, you can tell me I'm wrong. I'm wrong. But it's just so much fun, especially if you're a gamer, because this focuses on a group of 4 kids who are sent to detention. They're all different personalities, but they find an old Atari in the supply closet that they're working in. They decide to play the game, but they get sucked into Jumanji, and they are their avatars that they chose before they played the game. And it's really funny because their avatars are completely disparate personas from who they are in real life. And it's just so much fun to watch, especially Jack Black having to portray a very egocentric teenage girl, the hot girl in school. He's so much fun to watch, but it's funny, it's endearing at times, it still has that Jumanji feel to it, and I think it's a worthy successor to the original film. So I have been proven wrong, okay? Next up is The Congress. This is a very ambitious science fiction film that stars Robin Wright as, Robin Wright. But it focuses on her as she's about to turn 45 and her agents and management team are telling her that she's getting too old to be an actress, and they want her for her last role to upload her likeness and all of her mannerisms and personality traits and all that to basically this new kind of technology that will allow her to remain youthful and immortal, and she can appear in a bunch of films even as she grows older. And she reluctantly agrees to do this because her son has medical issues. But what she doesn't realize is this will change her life forever. And what's really cool about this film is some of it is live action, other parts are animated, and the animated sections are really just what make this film unique. They're very trippy, they make you think, and the animated sections are very thought-provoking because they don't just delve into the darker, uglier sides of the film industry. They also detail how Robin Wright is feeling about her success at this age. It deals with her mental state, it deals with how her management treats her. It's just a very inventive film that I think was very well done and flew under the radar for a lot of people. It is one of those films you have to watch. You cannot blink. If you blink, you'll miss something important. But it's a very worthwhile investment if you're into those kind of films. And it's just so meta and thought-provoking and just fucking trippy that I highly recommend it. Now next up is a movie that I usually would not include in this favorites because it didn't receive a 4 out of 5 star rating from me. But that is Tomb Raider, and I'm including this because it was just so much fun. Alyssa White is just Lara Croft. This is based off the 2013 video game reboot, which I've played every single game in the Tomb Raider franchise. I've read the comic books, I've seen the previous movies. I'm a huge Tomb Raider fan, okay? And I think this did it justice. There were some parts I felt could be fleshed out more. There was one element of the story that I didn't exactly gel with, but for the most part, it was a very fun movie, action-packed. If you played the games, you'll see moments where you're like, holy shit, that was in the game! Oh my god, that character's in this movie, but they were in this other game. It's just a lot of fun. If you're a fan of the newer games at least, you'll definitely enjoy this film. And it's better than a lot of the ratings critics have given it. So I would say if you're interested in watching Tomb Raider, check it out. It's really fun. It's awesome. It'll definitely make you think of the games. And of course, like I said, Alyssa White is just fantastic. Now next up is In This Corner of the World. This is a beautifully animated film about a woman who marries and moves across the country. She's living in Japan at the time during World War II. And for the most part, it's a very quiet slice of life film. It shows how she adjusts to being married, living in a new place. But then things take a turn, and I won't say anything more than that. And it just punches you in the gut and makes you feel all the feels. It's just a very powerful film. It's very relatable. And I just thought it was so well done and so poetic and just made me think. And I really enjoy that when films can make me do that. I would say this is definitely not a movie for younger children, but older children could probably handle it. But this is more aimed towards for adults, I would say. So if you like animated films with a message, check out In This Corner of the World. Next up, I want to talk about I, Daniel Blake. This is a very sobering, sometimes heartbreaking film that is directed by Ken Loach. This was my first Ken Loach film, and oh my gosh, I have to watch more of his films now because this was so good. It follows the titular character Daniel Blake after he's had a heart attack and lost his job. He needs to find a new job, but he can't find a new job. And he meets this young single mother who is trying to provide for her kids, but again, she can't find a job either. And they both have these unique storylines that merge together. It shows the reality of being unemployed, trying to get benefits, and the struggles that come with that. Again, this is a very sobering movie. This is not a super happy movie, but it does make you think. It does make you empathize with the characters. And it does show you a side of the world that some people don't see. So I do recommend I, Daniel Blake if you like this type of film, if you want to have your eyes opened. But also, if you love brilliant performances, this film is chock full of them. And like I said, I need to watch more Ken Loach films now. The next film I really loved, and this might be just because I was in choir for forever and I just adore music and dancing in general, but that is The Greatest Showman. This is based on the true story of P.T. Barnum as he founds his circus. It's just chock full of musical numbers which are just fantastic. I need this soundtrack, okay? The songs were written by the songwriters for La La Land. And Hugh Jackman is just fantastic as P.T. Barnum. He has an amazing voice, but the supporting cast including Zac Efron, Michelle Williams, Zendaya, and Rebecca Ferguson all add to the film as well. They're all fantastic and talented. And it's such a beautiful movie too, so bright and vibrant, full of colors. And it does have some, not necessarily darker moments, but more emotional moments, I would say. More realistic moments. Because there are some elements of this film that are outlandish because it's focusing on a circus. But it's actually very well done. It didn't get a lot of love and attention at the box office. But I would say if you love musicals, you're going to love The Greatest Showman. If you're not a fan of musicals, you might not enjoy it as much. But it's a fun time, and it'll definitely make you want the soundtrack afterwards, trust me. The next movie up is a very small film that I would not have heard about if I had not seen the trailer for it in February when I was visiting Sean, but that is I Kill Giants. I Kill Giants focuses on a young girl who is convinced that giants are real, and she sets traps out, and she makes protection spells to protect people she likes from the giants. And it focuses on how her sister is raising her and her brother. It focuses on how she's being bullied at school, how she doesn't really have any friends, and it just hints at the emotional trauma she's dealt with. It's a very well done movie. The visual effects are spectacular. The performances are great. It's a very underrated film that not a lot of people have heard about. It received a very limited run in theaters, but I would say if you liked A Monster Calls, definitely check out I Kill Giants. It has a similar feel, but it's not the same at the same time, if you get my drift. It's just a very similar movie, but it's not at the same time. That's very confusing, I know. But check out I Kill Giants, because this definitely needs to be seen more than it has. The next movie up is Victoria and Abdul. This is directed by Stephen Frears, and I actually was not expecting this to be as lighthearted and humorous as it was. This is based on the mostly true story, as the film itself says, of Queen Victoria and her friendship with Abdul Karim, who becomes her Munshi. I think I said that right. Did I say that right? If I didn't say that right, I'm sorry. But it's very, very touching and delightful. It's just so interesting to see a different side to Queen Victoria than has been portrayed in the past. It could not be accurate at all because I am not that well versed in British history, but I really enjoyed this film. I love the performances. Judi Dench as Queen Victoria was just a marvel. Oh my gosh, she was so hilarious and likable, and she was a rebel, and it was just so much fun to watch. It's just a film that if you need to feel better about what's happening that day, or you need your spirits lifted, Victoria and Abdul do that for you if you're into that kind of film. And the last movie I want to talk about is Ready Player One. Of course, everyone knows about this movie, probably, unless you're hiding under a rock. But Ready Player One is based off the novel of the same name by Ernest Cline. It's directed by Steven Spielberg. And it's about this teenage boy named Wade Watts who enters the Oasis, which is the virtual reality world created by James Halliday. And you can be whoever you want to be in the Oasis. You can do whatever you want to do. And he is trying to win the challenge that James Halliday created before he died to find 3 keys to find the ultimate Easter egg in the movie. And it's just how he and his friends are teaming up to try to get the keys and take down this evil organization called IOI at the same time. It's a lot of fun. The visual effects are spectacular. The Easter eggs throughout the whole film, if you're a geek, you will just have like a geekgasm. There are so many freaking references to amazing things. I was just like, oh my gosh, look at that, 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 look at that. Ah! If you're not as geeky as I am, you might not enjoy it as much because the plot can be kind of thin at times, but it's a fun ride. There's a lot of action. There are touching moments. It shows more character depth, I think, than the novel did. And it's just a really good time. Woo! We got through the movies. If it was rushed, I'm sorry, but there were a lot of movies to talk about. So let's move on to the TV show that I have been thoroughly enjoying this month, and that is Life Sentence. Life Sentence is the CW's latest show. It stars Lucy Hale. I love Lucy Hale. I have a huge girl crush on her. As Stella. Stella has been fighting cancer for years, and she was diagnosed with terminal cancer, so she was expecting to die. Her family thought she was going to die. But then one day, she's miraculously cured after she receives a medical trial. But she realizes that the real world is not as great as she thought it would be. She has to get a job, she has to deal with the fact that her family's falling apart. She has to deal with the fact that she married a man that she only knew for a month, and they have to deal with newlywed life and the fact that this isn't just temporary, this is a permanent thing, probably. It's really lighthearted and funny, but also it does provoke thought, and it makes you think about life and how you're going to live your life. And again, Lucy Hale is absolutely delightful as Stella. She imbues her with so much charm and she's so relatable, and it's a funny show. I was surprised by how humorous the show was because I wasn't expecting it to be that humorous. I would say if you're a fan of Jane the Virgin, you'll really like Life Sentence. It's kind of in the same vein, that same lighthearted vein, but it also touches on deeper topics at the same time. And it has a very likable female lead. I would highly recommend it. It's just a ray of sunshine. It's just lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And lastly, I want to talk about 2 games I enjoyed this month. First up is Life is Strange Before the Storm, the farewell episode. And this is a very short episode that is a prequel to the main Life is Strange game. It focuses on Max and Chloe when they're about 13 years old. And it's just them, you know, hanging out together, having conversations. You see little peeks at the original game in the farewell episode. Hannah Telle and Ashley Burch did a fantastic job reprising their roles as Max and Chloe. And you need to play this if you're a Life is Strange fan. And lastly is A Way Out. I had no intentions of playing this game, I'll be brutally honest. But then I played it with Sean and it was so much fun. This game focuses on 2 convicts who decide to help each other break out of prison, and then the ensuing chaos that comes from breaking out of prison. And this is a totally 100% co-op game. So you and your partner are constantly having to help each other. You're having to tell each other, hey, do this, hey, do that. Hey, save my ass over here. You can create your own story. You can choose different paths to go down, different dialogue options. There are different things to interact with in the world. You can play Connect 4 in this game, okay? You can play the piano, you can play guitar, you can play arcade games. There are so many little things in this game that add to the overall game that's just crazy. It's action-packed, it's a lot of fun, and the cool thing about A Way Out is only one person has to own the game, the other person just has to download the free demo, and you can play the whole game together. It's really cool. Written and directed by Joseph Fares, who previously wrote and directed Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It's just wonderful. It was so much fun playing this co-op. I've never had this much fun playing a game with anyone else before. But it was so fantastic to create this story together and to experience it. Even though, you know, I kind of hated the ending. I kind of really hated it. It's not the game's fault. Not the game's fault at all. But, you know, just personally, because of my character, yeah, I hated it. But overall, I love the game, okay? Don't hold the ending against it. That's just me being a sore loser. So those are my favorites for the month of March. I would love to know what you loved during March in the comment box down below. Also, like the video if you liked it. Share it if you liked it because it helps my channel grow. Also, if you're not subscribed yet, but you like what you've seen and heard, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll maybe be notified when my videos are uploaded. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all those sites are linked down below in the description box. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and kisses. Bye!